Our gap up still for selling. So far, it looks like it because the market did close lower than we opened, but we do still have a fairly large gap here. So after Jerome Powell spoke, we're not sure. But going into the weekly candle close, this will be important because we were talking about a pattern of lower lows. Well, that just did not happen this week. We're actually in a new blue sky territory over the previous candle high or 518, which signifies a weekly higher high. So now that the bulls have managed to do that, I think the really big question comes down to whether or not we get follow through selling after we get a gap fill tomorrow. By closing at or near the low of a candle, we usually get follow through selling. So after we come down to roughly 520, do we get a bounce? Do we get a fizzle? Do we get a flop? Or do we get a flip? Right now, we're still in extreme greed, which means that the bulls should be there. The bulls completely failed to capitalize on any momentum again one more time. But one team that is winning, which is bearish, is actually Team Dollar. Why? Oh my goodness. The dollar's up by 0.6% today. That is a big move. Bearish engulfing candle yesterday, nearly a bullish engulfing candle today. Oh my God, these bulls and bears on the dollar just don't know where we're going to go. But with extreme greed in blue sky territories, we continue to see momentum. And the short sellers are paying the price because they have the largest short position going back to July of 2023. This has been painful for them. It's been a year and a half, almost 2 years of losses. We also note that fear and greed is back, with Reddit up by 48% on its IPO today. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for all stocks. Apple is pretty red, right? So is Tesla, the stocks that have been losers so far this year. If we zoom out to year to date, Apple a notable loser, Tesla a notable loser. I think Tesla is actually the worst performing stock in the entire S&P 500 still today. So on the day, not a lot really happened, to be honest. AVGO snapped back. Micron had earnings up 14. SMCI is up 8. Hey, just another day at the office. And then Home Depot's up by about 3. And we see Lowe's up here by about 3.5. So it's really Apple that dragged down the market today. So what the hell happened? Well, Apple loses $150 billion in market value as regulators close in, right? They're like, that's enough, big Apple, right? Mr. Tim Apple. We're saying you are currently violating antitrust rules, the Digital Markets Act, blah, blah, blah. They just think the company's gotten too big, notably Europe, right? Europe has really been a thorn in most tech companies' sides. So they're potentially facing a really big lawsuit, and the company shed 4%, or about $150 billion in value. It's the second biggest stock in the entire market, so it did drag us. We did get some more economic data. Notably, we had the PMI and jobless claims come out this morning. Nothing that really moved the market. We just saw a strong continuation after Jerome yesterday. Did note that Jerome Powell does speak tomorrow. Does he speak tomorrow? Let me just see here. Oh, that's next week. Let's go to this week. So I had a look here. I shared this earlier today. We had a look at the calendar, and Jerome Powell is only speaking at a Fed Listens event. So there's nothing really significant. I did look. I don't think there's going to be any headlines from Jerome tomorrow. I could be wrong, but that's what I did check, and that's what I found. All right, I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. So part of the story is just that good data is good. Let's look back to this week. Well, we got inflation coming down. Crude inventories are green, so that's a beat. Beat on jobless claims, beat on PMI, beat on PMI, beat on existing homes. We see the PMI down a little bit here, but it's largely green, which means this is good news because we don't want to go into recession. Right now, the market's going higher because it thinks that we're not going to go down. There is no recession. It's over, only up. And GDP got revised for the first quarter this morning at 2.07. And we're almost into the end of March or the end of the first quarter. So looks like we're going to be in a positive number. We'll look at a few more charts in a moment to get a grasp on where the market's going to go. But like I showed you, the weekly chart is really what a lot of these come down to. So we will briefly look at S&P. We'll briefly look at QQQ. Otherwise, stay tuned until the end because we'll go through a few more. And then finally, we do have our stream at the end of day tomorrow where we're going to go through and do a lot more technical analysis. Maybe you want to subscribe to not miss a video. We talked about Bitcoin being a leading indicator. Well, where's Bitcoin right now? Man, it's been a volatile week. Let's look and see where it is. Where is the Bitcoin? Bitcoin is red on the week by about 4%. So we got a fail breakout last week. Now we're getting continuation lower. So it's not yet a confirmed bearish move because we're not currently below the previous candle low. which is currently at 64,500. What I really noticed on Bitcoin was that we got close to the 50 MA and bounced. If we look to Ether, the story is a lot more obvious, where power slam, 25% decline right to the 50 MA, strong dead cat bounce, and now we're trying to just hold on to this pivot right here at roughly 35.50. If you note here as well, we formed some kind of head and shoulders, which basically means a bearish setup. So what does this look like? Looks like a monster bounce off the 50 MA with some bullish volume, but we don't really see that same story over here on the Bitcoin. So what do we note? Well, the red bar is bigger than the green one, bigger than the green one, bigger than the green one. That's usually bearish. So price is king, but volume doesn't confirm it here. I think that people are bullish on Ether or ETH because we haven't yet had that ETF happen. So if the ETF hasn't happened yet, we probably haven't seen the true move higher. And we haven't actually even seen a new all-time high on Ether. You have to make it to roughly 5,000. There's a big hole that's missing to make it back to our all-time high here. So that was part of the story. Looks like the market is taking a cue to at least pause. RSP and BTC double tops. Let's have a look at that one. So looking here to RSP. RSP right now is not a double top. It's now in blue sky territory. And I think that we had XLF join the party today. XLF is financials. Oh my goodness, we did it. So 41.70 was the previous high. We closed at 41.90. Financials actually closed green today. That's right, up by about 1%. Whoa. So we're seeing more stocks going to blue sky territory. This is getting pretty incredible. We also talked about NVDA versus FOMC, and that really came down to what Jensen was going to have to say at his keynote address on Monday, and then what Jerome had to say at his news event on Wednesday. All right, let's look at NVIDIA or NVDA, right? NVDA, NVIDIA, whatever, right? Here we go. The pattern continues. The strongest stock in the market, the most important stock in the market. If you look at year to date, this has been the driver, 85%. Whoa, that's a stud. That's a strong stock. So another hollow candle we're set for right now. A hollow candle means that we're closing higher than we opened, which means there is an expansion. An expansion with demand is excellent. That is volume going up as the share price goes up. So as of right now, if we can close above 903.88 or basically 904, we're going to get that same pattern or a hollow candle, which means an expansion is underway and the market appears super, super resilient. Otherwise, we went through more notes on the weekend and the key numbers have now been reclaimed. The S&P is now in a double green light, back above 511, and QQQ is now back above 443, I believe, as of right now. Yes, it is. It's about 1% over that. So these levels here refer to the monthly chart, which we do update you on the monthly video. But anyways, I'll give you the quick recap here in about 10 seconds. A monthly higher high means that the expansion is continuing, just like on NVDA. So we have 441 as the monthly higher high or resistance here. And then same thing on SPY. Our level is going to correspond with 511, which we're well above now by about 11 points. If you want to watch more, that weekend deep dives now here on the left-hand side. If not, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you.